Takeaway Chinese, where you can take some Chinese away and experience progress day by day. Takeaway Chinese, we will promise you a difference.
你好，欢迎收听随行汉语 Welcome to Takeaway Chinese. I'm Nian Honglin, and today we're still doing the special series of inviting different friends from afar to talk about their Chinese learning experience. And today I have a special friend who have been here for more than once already here. Tell us a bit about yourself, shall we?
Oh, hello everyone. My name is Dr. Najma Saqib. I'm a pediatrician. I'm living in Beijing for 14 years.And I am very happy to be here. Thank you very much for inviting me.
Thank you so much. 周凯比, 周医生. You have a Chinese name, and I always appreciate a friend who are learning Chinese, interested in Chinese culture, and giving yourself a proper Chinese name. That is always very lovely. And thank you so much for joining the show today. So for our dear listeners, if you're interested in Chinese culture and you want to get a grip on the Chinese language, then this is the show for you. Stick with us for 30 minutes and you soon see the rewards. And for more fun Chinese learning, follow our Facebook page, Learn Chinese, to watch many fun videos and live streams. But now, let's provide you with some free Chinese for takeaway. When it comes to free Chinese to take away, I'm pretty sure you took so much, because when we say have some free Chinese to take away, we're talking about the Chinese language. And I know you've been here in China for around 14 years. That is a really long time. So how about you introduce yourself in Chinese for several sentences?
大家好，我是周凯比，我在北京已经14年了。我是一名儿科医生，我非常喜欢旅游，我去过中国的，我觉得大概300多个地方。
哇哦！
我非常喜欢学习中文，所以我今天来这里我就非常开心，因为可以跟你们一起学习中文。
300多个地方也太多了吧？So many different places, 300 different cities and counties?
Yeah.
That's really a lot.
Yeah, because when I was a student here, whenever I get vacations or holidays, I used to travel with my classmates. And I can drive, so we used to rent a car and just go like anywhere, wherever we feel like to go. Yeah, so most of the places I've been to is actually my classmates' hometown or their villages or something. So I can see the real China. It's not like a tourist spot or something. It's like where the locals live. Yeah, so I think that's the best part of my places or the travel I've been to, yeah.
那你去过这么多地方，有没有觉得中国各地的口音都不一样？
对，我觉得中国非常大，所以中国的每个地方的口音，还有些特殊的那个单词，比如说我去了那个西安那边，他们说 Oh my God， 他们说我不记得，但是大概是什么那地个县 or something like that. I went there many years ago.
那里深呀
Yeah, something
like that.
Yeah.
I'm not doing it very well, but I get it.
It's 10 years back, yeah.
Yeah, because in Chinese we say 我 and sometimes they will say Well, I'm bad at it, but yeah, I get. That's definitely the case here in China and in different places. This is a vast country, and there are different dialect, different accent, and like you said, different ways of saying things. Shanxi province, Xi'an, the capital city of Shanxi province, is definitely a really good example. How about 东北？你喜欢东北口音吗？
贼狼
贼狼是贼 essentially in Mandarin Chinese it carries the meaning of thief.
Yeah.
I have no idea why it means very in Dongbei, in the northeast part of the country, but yeah, 贼狼 The thing is, my general feeling is that if you're traveling in the north side of the country, the north part of it, you will be able to recognize the dialect, the accent, but you still kind of understand what they're saying. But if you travel to the southern part of the country, certain counties, especially rural areas, I think it almost sounds like a different language. I could not understand them. Is that the case for you?
Yes, definitely. I've been to Yunnan, and there are many minorities, and they have their own language. Also in Shanghai, big cities like Shanghai, Guangdong, they have their own like local language.
沪语，我们说沪语。沪 is the short name or kind of like a signal name for Shanghai, 沪. And yeah, 沪语 is definitely a very different, very authentic way of speaking in Shanghai. And recently, there has been a popular TV series, and they provide two different versions. One is the Mandarin version, and the other is 沪语 or 普通话版和沪语版, making sure that if you want to, you can enjoy the very authentic feeling and taste of what happened in Shanghai in that specific period of time. And yeah, the way people talk is definitely something quite significant in their life.
True. And one thing I learned about Chinese is like it doesn't matter wherever you go in China, if you learn the little like dialects or something, and if you speak with the locals, they're very happy, they're very welcoming, and they treat you so nicely. This is something really amazed me. So that's why everywhere I go, I try to pick something from them. For example, Shanghai, every time I took the taxi, 弄好啊.
弄好啊?
Yeah, so it means like hello, or I think it means hello, right? Because I did all my traveling when I was in my university. That was like 14 years back. I started, like recently I don't have much time, so I have a lot of memories like 14 years back or like during my university period. So I really enjoyed China.
Oh, I'm very glad to know that. And in the meantime, you've been here for so long. You must have basically celebrated and observed and experienced all of our major holidays and festivals and days, right?
Oh, yes, pretty much. I enjoyed all the Chinese national holidays, Mid-Autumn Festival holidays, and all the holidays, yeah.
Yeah, the Mid-Autumn Festival is around the corner. It is one of the most important traditional Chinese holidays. And during this time, people usually would be able to enjoy a 3-day holiday. It's kind of like a long weekend to give you a little break in the very busy days. But there are so many things centered around this holiday. We have the tradition, we have the stories, we have designated food. So I was wondering, you've been here for 14 years. During the first time you were celebrating the Mid-Autumn Festival, till now you celebrated for at least 14 times. What's your favorite part of it, and what's your least favorite part of it?
Well, when I first got encountered with this festival was during my university first year. Our university arranged an activity where we made the mooncake together. I think it was very fun. We were learning how to make the mooncake, and the most important thing is the teamwork. We were working together. We were making the mooncakes together, and we were waiting, and then we were eating it together. We were having chit chats. That time it was the best part. And later, when I learned about the history behind it, the stories, and it really fascinated me. If you ask me, the worst part is I have to study or work during the weekend. That is the worst part.
Yeah, because you're a doctor. You
Yeah.
don't get usual holidays the way we do.
Yeah.
You take turns and take shifts. Yeah, it happens to my mom. My mom's a doctor. But for those of you who do not really find Mid-Autumn Festival that familiar, actually it is one of the most important traditional festivals in Chinese culture, like we said, typically celebrated on the 15th day of the 8th lunar month, which usually falls in September or early October if we're talking about the Gregorian calendar. And the festival is also known as the Moon Festival or Mooncake Festival, and it is closely associated with the full moon and the tradition of eating mooncakes. The festival celebrates the harvest, family reunions, and the full moon, which is believed to add its brightest and roundest on this night. It's the middle of the month. So it's like the middle point of basically everything of the entire year. And like you said, 中秋节, 中 means middle, 秋 is the autumn, and 节日 is the festival. So 中秋节, and you talked about 月饼. So do you know what are some main activities celebrating the Mid-Autumn Festival traditionally? 你知道中秋节有一些什么传统的庆祝活动吗？
I would like to learn more from you, but so far what I experienced is family get-togethers. They make the mooncake, or they buy the mooncake from outside. But like during my university, we used to make our own mooncake. That was the activity in my university. So that was really fun. And family get-together, chit-chats from the busy life. You just take break, maybe sometimes traveling. something like that.
那你喜欢什么馅儿的月饼，或者你吃过什么馅儿的月饼？
We actually made the Beijing style mooncakes where there were red beans. It was sweet, yeah. But I know some meat. I never experienced or never tried those, but I would like to try those meat flavored mooncakes as
You
well.
missed out big time.
Really?
Yeah, meat mooncakes are like... Okay, I have to confess because I am from the northern part of the country. So meat mooncake was not something I grew up with, but I tried it. And my feeling is that for someone, again, born and raised in the northern part of the country, who's not that used to meat mooncake, do not anticipate eating mooncake. You can imagine it as a steamed bun with crusty outside, crusty wrap. And sometimes it can be very crunchy as well. So do not think it's the ordinary or common mooncake that you're familiar with. As long as you do not have that anticipation, you can enjoy the meat mooncake so much. Like you said, 北京的月饼, that's certain style. We also have 广式月饼. 广 stand for 广州, 广东, 广式月饼. And there's also 苏式月饼, 苏州, that the southern part of the country. And they all have different styles. They have different types of wrap, different types of filling. So 有不同的饼皮, 不同的馅儿. 我们知道月饼是 mooncake. So 月亮, that's the moon. 饼 is the cake. And as a cake, you have the wrap, you have the filling, 有皮,有馅儿. 它们都有不同的. And my mouth is watering. They really have different tastes and they're really quite so well. And like you said, having mooncake is one of the most important and traditional way of celebrating the Mid-Autumn Festival on top of 豆沙馅儿. 豆沙馅儿 is the red bean paste, but instead of having the entire tiny little red bean or so many different red bean in the mooncake directly as the filling, we would smash them into, it's kind of like sands. That's why the character 沙 is in it. 沙子是 sand, and 豆沙 is like bean made into little sands, so paste. 豆沙馅儿. And also 莲蓉. 莲蓉 is lotus seed paste. It's another kind of paste. I think it's more fine. It's finer. And it can be adjusted with a little bit sugar or a lot more sugar if you enjoy that. So that is 莲蓉馅儿. 所以吃月饼是很重要的一个习俗。还有赏月，你有跟朋友一起赏月的经历吗？
No.
I know, for modern people, appreciating the moon sounds...
No, actually, the moon is the brightest
Yeah.
and the fullest that time. So a lot of my friends, they usually take pictures and they upload it on their social media platforms. Yeah, I also took some photos, maybe when I was like in my university time. But recently, when I have like holidays or something like that for the Mid-Autumn Festival, I just scroll and I see others uploading pictures.
So instead of appreciating the moon directly, which is really, really simple, you just have to raise your head a little bit. What you do is to scroll the phone and appreciate the moon, right?
E-moon.
That's so Generation Z. That's so internet era.
Actually, also, I think they take the photo is better than I can take. So I better like...
The essence is not taking photos. The essence is to appreciate the same moon, even you're in different parts of the world. Well, at least different part of China. Because essentially or initially, the reason that people would celebrate this holiday, they would appreciate the moon together, is precisely because the moon is kind of like a constant. No matter where you are in the most east part of the country or the most west part of the country, and you might be so far away, especially if we imagine in ancient times where you do not really get high-speed rail or airplanes that can carry you to basically everywhere in at most one day. It's really hard for family members or loved ones to think about that, we cannot get to see each other unless I travel to his place spending 3 months and travel back in 3 months and doing nothing for the year. So what they would sometimes do is to write letters to each other, but that also takes a long time. So during these periods, during these kind of holidays, the Mid-Autumn Festival, they find something that no matter where you are, you can appreciate together, and that's the moon. That is why we have this famous Chinese saying. Actually, it's from a traditional Chinese poem. It's a verse. It's called 但愿人长久，千里共婵娟。
但愿人长久，千里共婵娟。
Yes, so 但愿人长久。
但愿人长久.
Yes, so 但愿 here means I sincerely hope, I wish. 人 is people. 长久 is live long. So 长久 actually means long. And here 人长久 means the person can stay in the world longer. So live long. And 千里共婵娟.
千里共婵娟.
Yeah, so 千里 is 1,000 li, 1,000 miles. So even if we're so far away, that's 千里. 共 means together. And 婵娟 is a traditional way, a metaphorical way even, to say the moon. So 婵娟 here is the noun here, but we're using it as a verb, saying appreciate the beautiful moon. So it's like even if we're thousands of miles apart from each other, we can appreciate the beautiful moon together.
As you're explaining this, I think it's very meaningful. That doesn't matter wherever you live. We share the same moon, and we can observe the same moon, and we can share stories. Even someone is 1,000 miles away. I think this is beautiful.
Yes, it's actually a poem by the Song Dynasty poet Su Shi. We also call him Su Dongpo. Su Dongpo is kind of like his nickname. And the poem is titled 水调歌头. But 水调歌头 is more like a way to write certain poems. Like in each line, how many words are in each line, and what kind of tone each character should be like. It's kind of like a pattern. 水调歌头 is a pattern instead of the name of that poem. And it was written in the Mid-Autumn Festival context. And this line expresses the poet's deep longing and hope that despite physical distance, people, especially for him, it's actually talking about his little brother. So he is using the poem. The starting of the poem is kind of like saying, I miss you, my brother. And the ending of the poem is like, I know human beings all share that same sentiment. And hopefully, 但愿人长久，千里共婵娟. Each and every one of us can live long, and we can appreciate something that is constant together. Even if we're not together, we're together.
Wow, beautiful. I think actually this year I'm going to do that. I'm going to call my family members, come out, let's watch the moon, and let's share the moon together.
That's so beautiful,
that's
right?
Beautiful, yeah,
it's better than appreciating the Yi moon that you're doing.
Exactly, yeah.
And also now with modern technology, you can, like you said, call them or video chat them while you're doing that. So you're seeing each other, spending time together, and also appreciating the moon.
Exactly.
So that's a beautiful poem. And another one I personally really like is 海上生明月，天涯共此时. It basically means that you can look at the beautiful bright moon rising above the sea. 海 is the sea, 明月 is the moon. 天涯共此时. It's the second part that I like the most. That is, we share this moment no matter where we are. Similar sentiment and relatively more direct way of saying it. But yeah, the moon is definitely a cultural symbol that holds a very vital significance in Chinese culture. What about in other cultures? For example, in your culture, what does the moon signify?
In my culture, I think moon is more connected with like we have many stories as well, like China. More also like many romantic stories with the moon, the lovers, things like that. And in like, let's say when someone is in love, they will ask the other person to come. Let's watch the moon together, as you were saying.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
moon appreciating.
Moon appreciating. Yeah, we have similar culture as well.
Speaking about moon cultures and moon stories, actually, do you know the story of 嫦娥奔月?
Oh, yes, I heard the story.
Can you tell the story? I want to listen to your version because actually there are so many different versions. So to start with, to give our audience a little bit background, 嫦娥 is basically the moon fairy. in Chinese culture, but Chang'e is the moon goddess name, the moon fairy's name. And Ben means to run towards or fly towards. And Yue is 月亮 is the moon. So 嫦娥奔月. You can guess what the story is, but I want to know your version.
Well, the story or my version, I don't know. I never knew it. I was not aware that there were many different versions. But I heard like there was like a fairy mother, Chang'e, wanted to be mortal. So she ate something and she went to the moon. And then every year when the moon is the brightest, her lover actually goes like a letter or something goes to the moon. Is that correct?
There's no such thing as whether or not it's correct because, like I said, there are so many different versions. There are relatively darker versions saying that Chang'e, like you said, Chang'e want to be mortal. So she stole the heavenly medicine from her husband, and they were supposed to share. If they share, they can live hundreds of years together. But she wanted to be mortal by herself. She would live forever. So she stole the medicine and she ate it. And instead of being mortal and stay on earth forever, she felt that she's getting really, really light, and she basically floated to the moon. So there are darker versions like that. But more people, I think a more common and popular version is that Chang'e is this really lovely lady, and in order to save her husband or save her mother-in-law, different versions, she was forced by some bad guys trying to steal the fairy or godly medicine, and she had to eat all of them, and she successfully did the heroic job, yet she had to fly to the moon. So there are so many different versions of the story, but the essence is that after being sent to the moon, living there, she started to make different traditional Chinese medicine with the help of her little assistant, the rabbit. And some people would feel that they are eating the mooncake, commemorating Chang'e, or they are eating the kind of mooncake with some traditional Chinese medicine or some herbal medicine that Chang'e made. And these are some other, different types of anecdotes and different types of stories wrapped around in the mooncake or around this special holiday.
Wow, interesting. So I came to know about so many different versions. Wow.
Yeah, there are so many different versions. And her husband, Hou Yi, that's Chang'e's husband. There's also the Chang'e's husband shooting down 8 different sons kind of story, but that is a story for another time. But I was wondering, since you have been here for 14 years, have you ever celebrated the Mid-Autumn Festival in other parts of the country?
No, I celebrated
always in Beijing.
Yeah.
Wow, so many different years of experience. So have you noticed certain changes, for example, after, so many years? What are some changes in customs or way of celebrating by people, in your opinion?
I think like before, like let's say 14 years back, people used to, whenever there were holidays like this, people used to go back to their hometown or celebrate cooking, eating together, make mooncakes. But recently I found they like traveling because 14 years back the transportation was not as convenient as it is right now. We have the high-speed trains, so people more like to travel. Even there are 3 days holidays, but the traveling is so convenient, so they travel. And I think that more and more people love traveling. I notice it's like in China. So in 3 days holiday, maybe they travel as well as they enjoy the festival together. Maybe they were having mooncake back in their home. Now they're going to a new place and having the mooncake, maybe something like that.
Yes, and also one thing I can remember is that 以前好像很多时候我会吃现做的月饼，路边我们叫打月饼，打 is the verb here. Maybe you've already noticed the character 打 can be used for so many different actions in the Chinese language. So 打月饼 is one thing. The kind of mooncake is definitely tasty and freshly made. It's very nice. But now with the popularity of online shopping, one thing is that 我可以在网上买到各种不同款式、不同类型的月饼，比如说我们刚才说的苏式月饼、广式月饼 ，and again, that allows me to try different types and figure out, maybe I like 肉月饼 a lot. So yeah, that's another thing I personally noticed.
Exactly, yeah. Because there are more varieties right now, and because of the online shopping, I think like it's very convenient. So people, doesn't matter they're in Beijing, they can order like as you mentioned, the Cantonese type, or another type you mentioned is
the Suzhou
type. Yeah, so maybe meat, different flavors, and there are many varieties right now, and even many companies, they have different types. Even big companies, they have introduced like different types of mooncake. So in mooncake ice cream,
yes. And also 冰皮月饼. It's almost like no, let's ignore that part. And also we know that 月饼 mooncake represents reunion. It's round. It's, well, in Chinese concept, we believe that when something is round, it's 圆满. So it's full, it's the best or the perfect shape or state. So it's 圆满. And eating mooncake can be understand. Well, I think eating mooncake is also a way to celebrate family reunion. And the funny thing is, because it signifies reunion, some people say you should never share a mooncake, because if you separate it, it's not full and round anymore. Yet some other people would argue that precisely because it's a sign of union, the entire family should have different parts of the same mooncake, suggesting that together you make things to the fullest. So even in different places, there are different rituals.
Oh, yes. As far as I remember, in the South, there are some big companies. They made the biggest mooncake and they shared it among their employees, considering like we all are a family. We work together. And they were like, I remember this video, a picture of this online. I have seen it. Like they made the biggest mooncake in the world, something like that.
Yeah, we like being, the biggest to the first to the most. It's a thing. We're a little bit competitive. And another must-do activity, at least personally myself, is to appreciate the Mid-Autumn Festival Gala.
Oh, yes.
It is actually a popular event that takes place during the Mid-Autumn Festival. The gala often features a variety of performances, including traditional music, dance, and theatrical shows. It's a major cultural celebration that highlights the festival's theme of family reunion. And do you know, actually CMG's China Media Group's 2024 Mid-Autumn Festival Gala will feature a unique fusion of traditional Chinese culture and cutting-edge technology and create an immersive experience for viewers. And if you want to know more about the tradition, the fun things, and also other symbolisms of the Mid-Autumn Festival, the mooncake, the appreciating of moons, you can also go check the Mid-Autumn Festival Gala out.
Wow, that's interesting. And how can I watch that?
Actually, you can catch the Mid-Autumn Festival Gala on TV. If you're watching, for example, CCTV or CGTN, definitely it's there. Or you can just search for the Mid-Autumn Gala online. I'm pretty sure Mid-Autumn Festival Gala would lead you to the sites, allowing you to appreciate that special activity.
Wow, I'm looking forward to it then.
I'm very happy to have you here today with me. Thank you so much, Dr. Sakib, for being a great guest of today's Takeaway Chinese. And that brings us to the end of today's show. For more episodes of the show, you can visit our website at radio.cgtn.com and go to the column podcast. You can also listen to the show and read the script there. Find us wherever you listen to your favorite podcast. Just search for Takeaway Chinese. Don't forget to leave your questions, comments, and ratings. 最后，祝大家中秋节快乐！
中秋节快乐，大家！
拜拜！
拜拜！